The Super Mario franchise is one of the most beloved and well-known series of games in the speedrunning community. Almost every platformer in this series has hundreds, if not thousands of runners each, showcasing a level of optimization and competition that is rarely seen in any other speed game. Super Mario 64 is probably the most famous example, with over 1,100 runners for the 70-star category and almost 2,000 runs for the 16-star category. Super Mario Bros. For the NES has over 1,500 runners for any percent. Super Mario Odyssey has a massive 4,216 runners for any percent, and even Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which was released not even 1 year ago, already has over 220 runners for the All Royal Seeds category. But what if I told you that there's a hidden gem in the Mario platformer genre of games that has less than 30 runners?
このおもちゃ工場から生まれたミニマリオが大ヒット、売り切れ続出。そこにあいつがやってきた。アクションで謎を解き、ミニマリオを取り戻そう。ゲームボーイアドバンス、マリオ vs ドンキーコング。
What the hell did I just watch? This is Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Originally released for the Game Boy Advance in 2003, this game has you controlling Mario through a set of platforming puzzle levels in order to prevent Donkey Kong from stealing all of the mini Mario toys. Fast forward to February of 2024, and a remake of the game was released onto the Nintendo Switch system, featuring HD graphics, new and improved movement, and 4 brand new worlds that weren't featured in the original. I will mostly be talking about the remake since that's the most up-to-date version of the game, although I will cover some cool things from the original from time to time, since there are big differences when it comes to the physics and speedrun strats. Mario in Mario vs. Donkey Kong has a very similar set of movements to games like Super Mario 64, as well as Super Mario Bros. 2 for the NES. He can run, jump, do a side flip from SM64, grab and throw enemies just like in Super Mario Bros. 2, and by holding down and pressing the jump button, Mario can do a handstand to protect himself from falling objects. Pressing jump a couple more times after this makes him do a triple jump, kinda similar to SM64 as well. The triple jump is used a lot to cover large gaps and is used quite abundantly in the speedrun. He can also climb ladders and jump repeatedly to climb up faster. He can spin on horizontal poles, and the more he spins, the higher he jumps off of them. And lastly, Mario can climb ropes. Climbing on 2 ropes at the same time is faster than climbing on a single rope, but sliding down on 1 rope is faster than sliding down 2 of them. You can make rope climbing even faster by jumping between them like this. With a wide set of movements available from the very beginning, this gives you a lot of options for going fast. Now it's time to look at the run and show off some cool strats. This is the Mario vs. Donkey Kong Any% Plus speedrun. For clarification, Any% Plus means that I'll be doing the Any% run, which contains the first 8 worlds, and I will also be doing all 8 additional Plus worlds. The normal worlds has you controlling Mario to find a key, after which you have to grab it and take it to the keyhole. In the second half of the level, you have to find a mini Mario trapped inside of an orb and pick it up. Sounds simple enough, right? I'll explain the Plus levels a bit later. Each world has its own unique gameplay mechanic, and World 1 is Mario's Toy Factory, which serves as a tutorial world. 1-3 is really cool because we have this awesome triple jump from the yellow switch to this elevator, and a quick side flip to get to the key. And then I fall all the way down to the trash cans to go to the keyhole, which brings us to the first big change from the original. In both the original and the remake, it's actually possible to take fall damage if you fall from a certain height, leaving Mario stunned on the ground for a few seconds before he's able to get back up. However, in the remake, they increase the distance that you have to fall in order to take fall damage, so we can use this to our advantage to be faster in later levels. Moreover, in the original game, you can actually die if you fall from too high, but in the remake they completely removed deaths from falling, which is a nice change in my opinion, since Mario doesn't typically die from falling in other games unless he jumps into a pit. In 1-6, for example, we can hit the blue switch and then fall down to the left side here for a quicker way down to the key. If you try to do this in the original, it doesn't work out so well. 1-4 is the scariest level in World 1, where I have to time this ladder jump and the coyote jump perfectly in order to make it to this pole in time, and then swing a couple times so I can jump off of it before the electricity hits me. A coyote jump is basically when the game lets you jump in mid-air for a split second after after walking off of a platform, and it's pretty useful in a few areas of this game. After saving 6 Mini Mario toys, we're put into a Mini Mario Escort level, where the goal is for the Mini Marios to collect the letters T, O, and Y, and then you have to collect at least one of them into the toy box. The number of Mini Marios you take into the box determines how many hits you can take into the Donkey Kong fight right after. Because this is a speedrun, we usually just take one Mini Mario, with a couple of exceptions. The first DK fight is really exciting. The goal here is to hit DK with trash cans, and DK can press buttons to change the platforms and spawn different trash cans. To speed things up though, we use some quick and precise movement to manually hit the switches ourselves while DK is getting hit. Normally when you get too close to DK, he can punch you, but I make sure to hit the switches quickly and get off of his platform as soon as possible. World 2 is DK's jungle, which introduces the rope mechanic. In 2-1, you're meant to press the blue switch and then climb up the ropes to reach Mini Mario, but instead I can cheese the level by side flipping over the spikes to get to Mini Mario faster. In 2-4, I have to do a well-timed triple jump off the elevator and some precise jumps, and at the end I do something called a crouch flip. How side flipping works normally is that while running in one direction, you can turn around and press the jump button to do a flip. However, if you want to flip in the same direction that you're walking towards, doing a normal side flip isn't very optimal. So to save time, I do a crouch before turning around to cancel the turnaround animation and do the flip faster. This tech is used in so many levels and is crucial to getting the world record that I'm aiming for. 2-5 introduces these crocodile enemies who are a bit annoying since their movement patterns are completely random. Thankfully in this level I get pretty good RNG, but surely they won't come back to haunt me later, right? 2-6 is one of the hardest levels in the game. In the key level, the game wants you to bring this monkey down so that you can grab the tail and make it across the gap. Instead, I quickly make my way up and do a falling handstand so that I can do a somersault across the big gap here. This jump is extremely dangerous and has killed many of my attempts. The next level is just as difficult, where I have to jump between these ropes in a specific rhythm in order to get past all of the fireballs in one cycle. Unfortunately, I'm just a hair too slow and have to wait for the last fireball before getting to Mini Mario. In the second Mini Mario stage, I do a bit of fun AI manipulation. First, I hit the red switch and then walk to the very right side. Then I make one Mini Mario jump onto the red platform and I go back down. There are a couple of Mini Marios off screen, and when they're off screen they can't follow you. But I manipulate the camera with the right analog stick to make them follow me again at a very specific time. And this allows the top Mini Mario and bottom Mini Mario to collect the O and the Y at the exact same time. The next DK fight is very chaotic casually, but because he's always on the same pattern during the first attempt, I can time my jumps to the music in such a way that I'm able to beat him in 9 seconds. World 3 is Fire Mountain. The main theme of this world is fire and lava. This world introduces Ninjas, which are enemies that originated from Super Mario Bros. 2. We also have Sniffets, which look like Shy Guys and shoot fire from their face. 3-4 is my personal favorite in this world. Running past these Potaboos, I crouch flip to the blue switch and immediately do a triple jump while activating the switch. I quickly make my way to the key and press the red switch in time to make the platform cycle while this moving block is at the bottom. Then I use the block to make it up to the keyhole in time. In the orb level, I side flip off of this block, then triple jump up to this rope, using the ceiling above me to triple jump faster than normal. In the GBA game, you actually can't grab ropes after triple jumping to them, so this is a much welcome change in the remake that we use to our advantage. Then I jump from the rope to the Sniffet and back onto the chain, jump onto the Ninja, and grab the bottom part of the chain to then jump to Mini Mario. This game is so cool. The third DK fight is really fun. My goal at the start is to parry the first barrel that DK throws with a handstand jump, but this requires very precise timing and I get my first death here. The second time around, I try the same thing and the barrel goes to the left, so from here I'm able to hit DK and then position myself to be ready for the next set of barrels, and if I do this correctly, he should throw each barrel in the same spots each time for a quick kill. That's so dumb. I lost about 11 seconds here, but I'm still on pace for a world record. World 4 is Merry Miniland, the first new world that was added to the remake. This world introduces these cool flowers that can carry Mario and certain objects through a wind current, which makes for some really fun strats. In 4-2, I use the spring to get up to the red switch, throw the spring, and jump to this red flower. I jump on the spring by activating a handstand, which is faster than jumping on it normally. Then I hit the blue switch, grab this key, and throw it onto the Shy Guy's head, which makes the key bounce to the right for me to collect on the other side. In the orb level, what the game wants you to do here is grab this spring and then throw it onto this platform and then bounce up to the ropes and then press the blue switch. And then you're supposed to drop down, climb this ladder, and then ride the blue current across and then press the yellow switch. After pressing the yellow switch, you have to climb up and take the yellow current and then go down to the spring, take the spring up with you and bounce upwards, and then you can collect Mini Mario. However, I can instead use the spring to jump up here and do an extremely precise coyote jump to barely grab onto the rope. Then I jump to this small platform and I can do a well-timed triple jump to cheese my way up to the orb much more quickly. The next level introduces bombs, which we can use for some really cool skips. At the start of the level, I run to the left so that the bomb spawns to the right. Then I grab the bomb and throw it to these breakable blocks and use the bomb as a platform to triple jump up to the next bomb. I throw that bomb to some more breakable blocks, then grab the other bomb that spawns and throw it perfectly onto the edge of this platform and triple jump up to the key, saving me a good chunk of time. The orb stage is even harder. First I run to the left and side flip to the right at the perfect time to activate the bomb's timer early. I bring the bomb down and triple jump off of it to reach the red platform, and the next bomb spawns faster since I activated the first one early. I then activate that bomb's timer as well, triple jump up to the yellow switch and activate it at the perfect time in order to grab the bomb and break the blocks before the bomb explodes in my hands. This world also introduces warp boxes from Super Mario 3D Land and 3D World. These can also be activated by colored switches and send Mario and whatever he's carrying to the other box of the same color. 4-6 is the hardest level in the game for me. What the game wants you to do is take a bomb through the red box, break this wall, carry another bomb through the yellow box and break this wall, hit the blue switch, and carry a bomb up to this key and go through the yellow box again to the keyhole. Instead, what I do is jump onto this bomb here and wait for a few seconds before grabbing it and starting the bomb timer at a very specific time. I take the bomb through the red block and place the bomb onto this corner, doing an extremely precise triple jump up to the key, throwing the key on the way down, picking up the bomb and throwing it after landing to break the blocks and to avoid getting hit by the explosion. Then I can proceed through the yellow block as normal, and you can proceed to hit that like and subscribe button if you'd like to see more speedrunning content from me in the future. In the Mini Mario stage, I lead them to the top of the level and then time my jump right when a Mini Mario jumps so that one of them stays on the top platform and collects the letter when I press the red switch. The next DK fight is similar to the one in World 1, but now we have these flowers. Thankfully, this fight is on a consistent cycle, so as long as I play perfectly, this should be pretty fast. I even get a cheeky double hit here with the red and blue trash cans before pushing the yellow switch myself. That's the best segment, I'm pretty sure. World 5 is the Spooky House, and features familiar enemies throughout the Mario series, such as the Thwomps, Thwimps, and Boos. We also have these charging soldier things that push you through a one-tile gap when you duck, so that's cool I guess. 5-3 is normally a pretty long level, since you have to wait on these moving platforms and carry the key across after pushing the colored switches, but with some very precise movement I can make it through this level extremely quickly. This level has killed a good portion of my runs because of how hard the execution is. The orb stage features Ghost Shy Guys, which you can turn into blocks by pressing the corresponding switch. 5-6 is another tricky level where you have to wait on moving platforms, but if I catch the cycle fast enough, I can jump to this platform right before it's out of range with a very precise jump. If you jump too early here, you bonk your head and die to the thwimp down below, and if you don't make the cycle, you have to wait here for the platform to come back to you. The DK fight of this world is probably the easiest one, but I'll show it off anyway because why not? World 6 is Slippery Summit, which is the second new world that was added to the remake. This world features ice physics as the main gimmick, and while I usually hate ice physics in video games, these ice physics are actually really fun in my opinion. Jumping on the ice actually speeds you up by a little bit, and it leads to some fun puzzle elements where you have to slide objects across the ice to beat the level. My favorite level from this world is 6-3, where I have to use the triple jump to make it through these falling icicles before their hitbox activates, and the orb stage has me dodging these blue potaboos that freeze you instead of burning you. Using the ice physics to my advantage, I quickly hit the yellow switch and head my way back in order to make a specific cycle where I can triple jump past 2 more icicles and potaboos. 6-6 is the hardest level in this world. What the game wants you to do is throw the spring across the ice here, and then you have to warp to the spring using the warp blocks. But I do a risky strat by throwing the spring and jumping into the ice tunnel to get to it faster. If I mistime this at all, I can easily die to the falling bricks in this section. After this, I climb up to the key, throw it across, and warp to the key as you normally do to finish the level. In the orb section, there's this neat shortcut with the blue warp block, and after entering it, you can conveniently side flip up to the key before the block activates again. The DK fight of World 6 is the longest one and honestly the most boring, but it's possible to speed it up by a couple seconds by baiting DK to swing his fists at you, which manipulates his cycle to throw the throwable barrels at you faster. World 7 is the most difficult world in the game, called Mystic Forest. It also happens to be my favorite world. The main gimmick of this world are these conveyor belts. You can change the direction of the conveyor belts by hitting one of these gray switches, but there are ways to circumvent these to save time. For instance, in 7-3, you can do a really precise jump off of this conveyor to throw the key across to the other conveyor with good timing. Unfortunately, in the previous level, I died to a shy guy because I grabbed a hammer by accident and panicked instead of just killing the enemy with a hammer. In 7-4, I do a bit of a risky strat by throwing the key down to this conveyor belt and making it around to the other side before the countdown of the key finishes, which allows me to grab it a lot quicker. In the second half, I carefully triple jump over a cannonball to grab the rope and make my way to the top platform so that I can triple jump over another cannonball and head up to the mini Mario. In 7-6, I do a well-positioned set of triple jumps to use the moving platform early and get to the key faster, which is really satisfying to pull off. The mini Mario stage here has some pretty cool manipulation. After breaking the first 2 sets of blocks with the bombs, I go over to the right side and climb up this ladder to make some mini Marios come up to me, but I leave some off screen on purpose to come back to later. After I get the letter Y, I go to the right side from the top and jump down the ladder, calling the other group of mini Marios up to me in order to end the level faster. I only take 1 mini Mario with me, which is extremely risky, as this next DK fight is the hardest in the entire game. This fight has DK throwing bombs on these conveyors, but with extremely precise timing, I'm able to make quick work of him. I cannot stress how hard it is to do this strat, and I've had so many runs die to this fight. Let's go. Oh my god. First try. Thank god.
Wow.
Oh my god, dude. Now there's only one world left in the any % run, which is called Twilight City. The new gimmick of this world is these colored lasers that shoot out in order from red, then blue, then yellow. 8-2 Orb is the hardest level in the game for me because it requires you to do perfect inputs to dodge all of these falling bricks and throw the shy guy in time to then jump onto it and jump off of it before the last brick reaches you. If you're either too impatient or you hesitate at all, it's incredibly easy to die here. 8-3 has a bit of cheese here. By lining up Mario on a specific pixel on the floor, I can do a pixel perfect jump to the left and get up to the key without having to press any switches. Unfortunately, in the orb stage, I die a few times due to letting go of the metal bar too early, and then too late, and then too early again. This was definitely my biggest time loss of the run. 8-4 is a really neat level. I use these red laser covers as platforms to get up to the key faster. When I head down to the keyhole, I get hit on purpose by the blue laser to get myself in the key past the next set of lasers faster, since you get a brief period of invincibility after getting hit while holding an object. The DK fight in World 8 is really interesting. In this fight, DK throws bombs onto these conveyors, and both you and DK can change the direction. The goal here is to make sure that this conveyor is pointed to the right so that the bomb goes down to DK, but to speed up the fight, you can get hit by a laser on purpose right when DK is about to push the switch to make him taunt instead, which prolongs the button press. Sadly, I ended up losing 20 seconds in Twilight City, but I was still on pace to get the world's first 109 any % run, and it was down to the last boss. Final Donkey Kong has you finding colored keys, which you have to use to unlock and save a toad of the same color. These keys always appear in the same order. However, the falling barrels fall in a random order and roll in random directions. To give myself enough time to react to these barrels, I use the right analog stick to move the camera up a bit so I can see more stuff above me. After freeing all of the toads, I make make my way to the bottom and duck on this platform to not get hit by anything while I wait for the big barrel to come down, after which the toads will haul it over for me to use. In the original game, there's a big glitch you can use by hitting Donkey Kong with the same barrel over and over again by standing on a specific pixel. This doesn't work in the remake, so we have to do things the hard way, running down to grab a new barrel each time we hit DK. With the giant barrel in hand, I make my way up to DK to hit him, and I repeat this 2 more times. Now let's see if I can get this sub 110. It's good. Come on. Please. Please, please, please. Yes! Yes! 109.55. Let's go, dude. 109. Yes. Just like that, I got the world's first sub 110 in any percent by about 5 seconds. The run isn't over yet though, because I am doing an any percent plus run after all. The plus levels here only come in 1 part instead of 2, so they're much shorter. The goal is to wake up Mini Mario, who has a key with him, and then escort him to the keyhole. At the end of each world is a very similar DK fight as the normal world, but the terrain is changed a bit to make the fight harder. I'm not going to go into great detail about the plus levels, but I'll show off some of the more notable parts of the run, so sit back and relax because there's some really cool stuff here. For instance, 2 DK Plus is supposed to be one of the hardest fights in the whole game, but I found a consistent setup by restarting the level on purpose to set DK on a specific cycle, and then I time each hit with specific beats in the music. It's important to note that if I get hit here and fall onto the spikes, that's an instant death despite me having 6 hit points. 3 DK Plus is my least favorite fight in the game because of all of these breakable blocks that the devs spammed into the level. It was worse in the original though because we didn't have any metal platforms to stand on. Anyhow, because I spaced the second barrel throw incorrectly, I had to wing it for the rest of the fight, which cost me almost 30 seconds. 4-5 Plus is the most RNG level in the entire game because it features several of these green crocodile enemies which move in a completely random pattern. After waiting on the first one, I make it to the right side and trap Mini Mario behind the red blocks. I then take a cool shortcut up here by doing a triple jump and I hit the blue switch to untrap Mini Mario. Unfortunately, I get bad RNG because this guy climbs down onto this rope instead of going to the side of the keyhole, so I wait a bit before moving to the left, thinking that he'll just continue to go to the right of this bottom platform. But as soon as I move to the left, the crocodile baits me by climbing up the next rope, which kills Mini Mario. Because of that, I have to restart the level, and by the time that I beat it, I had already lost 30 seconds. If I want to get a sub 202, I can't make any more mistakes, but thankfully there aren't any more trash RNG levels in the way. In 5-4 Plus, what you're supposed to do is bring the Boo up here, and then Mini Mario can follow you safely. But I came up with an incredibly risky strat where at the start of the level, I do a precise triple jump off of Mini Mario's head, and then backflip through the falling spike right before the hitbox becomes active, and then I guide Mini Mario to the keyhole from there. This strat has killed several of my runs, but saves a lot of time if done successfully on the first try. 5DK Plus is pretty much the same as 5DK, except this time I have to avoid getting hit by the spikes that can one-shot me. After beating him, I was almost 30 seconds ahead of PB again. Slippery Summit Plus is a pretty cool world, pun intended. For instance, in 6-2 Plus, instead of using the spring to get up to the red switch, I triple jump off of Mini Mario's head again, and then lead him to the right side. The ice physics make the Mini Mario stages a bit tricky since it takes him a little bit of time to fully turn around, so you have to account for that as well as the momentum he has from the ice so that he doesn't die. 6-4 Plus has a really neat optimization too. What you're intended to do here is lead Mini Mario through each of these warp blocks on the bottom in order to lead him to the right side of the stage. However, with good timing, I can instead lead Mini Mario to the right side while narrowly avoiding him getting crushed by the block, and lead him down to the red warp block which skips the rest of the blocks. 6DK Plus is the same exact fight as the last one, even down to the same exact pattern as last time, and as long as I avoid the falling one-shotting icicles, this fight is pretty easy. Mystic Forest Plus is pretty straightforward in execution, but the DK fight here is more chaotic this time around, since now the conveyors are pointing in different directions from last time, and there are breakable blocks at the bottom with one-shotting spikes links below. With some precise jumps and throws, I'm able to make quick work of DK, and now I'm 59 seconds ahead of PB. All I have to do now is get through the last world and get a good final boss fight. Twilight City Plus is the most tricky, but also has the coolest plus level strats. In the first level, there's a really neat shortcut where we can use this trash can to boost Mini Mario upwards to the keyhole while he's mid-jump. In A-3 Plus, we can do a strat that's much faster than the original since we can triple jump to ropes now, which barely skips an entire waiting cycle but is really hard to execute since Mini Mario is just pixels away from dying here. The last level has the hardest strat in my opinion. Basically, to skip out on having to do a lot of backtracking, I have to hit this blue switch perfectly while Mini Mario is at the peak of his jump so that he lands on the blue platform. Then I have to move in such a way to make Mini Mario jump onto the trash can without falling off of the blue platform. Then I can grab the trash can, throw it to the right onto the conveyor belt, hit the conveyor switch quickly, and press the red switch before the trash can lands in order for Mini Mario to use it as a platform to make it over to the keyhole. The next DK fight is pretty much exactly the same as the one in the normal Twilight City, and I make it out of there with 52 seconds of time save. All I have to do now is get good enough RNG on the final boss to get the world's first 201. The final boss of this game features Donkey Kong in a giant mech suit. Every time his hands slam down, it makes trash and barrels fall down from the sky. It also stuns Mario if he's on the ground while the pound is happening, so I need to make sure to jump right before the hands slam down. Thankfully, the first couple of barrels here are consistent, but all of the ones after are random, so I just need to react as quickly and efficiently as possible. This is another boss you can completely cheese in the original by standing on a specific pixel and throwing the barrel upwards 7 times in a row, but this is not possible in the remake. Now, let's see if I can get a 201. I don't know why I did it like that. Put your hands down. Please slam, dude. $201.51. World's first 201. Let's go, dude. With the run finally finished, I have achieved the world's first 201 in Mario vs. Donkey Kong any percent plus. Thank you all so much for watching, and huge shoutouts to my Gold Crown patrons over on Patreon, Shiki Kairi, Astax, and Radical FPR for financially supporting my YouTube endeavors. If you would like to get one day early access to all of my uploads and support the channel, feel free to support me on Patreon for as low as $5 per month. I hope you all have a wonderful day.